Redskins Super Bowl XXII heroes believe replacement players deserve a ring. As the 30th anniversary of the Redskins' 1988 Super Bowl victory approaches, there is new support coming from that team's top players who believe the replacement players who secured 3 regular season wins during the players' strike should receive Super Bowl rings for their contributions. "It was instrumental because those games counted," said tight end Clint Didier, who caught the final touchdown in the famed second quarter of Super Bowl XXII. "They counted for our season. It was instrumental. We still got home field advantage, how the whole playoff picture was put together, the fact that we even made the playoffs. Yes, it was instrumental and they played a key part, and honestly, I think all those guys deserve a Super Bowl ring, myself." The replacement players, a hodgepodge group of has-beens and never-wears, stood in for the Redskins' regular roster from Week 4 to Week 6 of the 1987 regular season while the NFL's players engaged in a 24-day labor battle. The Redskins' replacements played, and won, a total of 3 games, including an improbable Monday night road victory over a Dallas Cowboys team that featured NFL standouts Tony Dorsett, Randy White and Dandy White, after they crossed the picket line. The Redskins were the only team without a player crossing the picket line. The idea of men coming in off the street and taking the jobs of those who were fighting for better workplace treatment and benefits rankled many NFL players, leading to vandalism of the team buses ferrying in the scabs, as well as threats and insults hurled by the regulars toward the replacements. Didier, however, doesn't begrudge those players for occupying roster spots reserved for regular players. 30 years later, Redskins players remain proud they stuck together during strike. It was their only chance to get on a field, and show a coach what they can do, Didier said. "I don't blame them one bit." The Redskins signed several replacements beyond the strike's conclusion. The Super Bowl XXII program lists 3 replacement players on the Redskins roster: wide receiver Anthony Allen, who was not active on game day, cornerback Dennis Woodbury and tight end Joe Caravello. The overwhelming majority of the Redskins' replacement players did not receive a Super Bowl ring for their services, though several other members of that team's regular core shared Didier's belief they deserve them. "At first I was opposed to them getting rings, but later on, it was like, those guys contributed, they won 3 games for us," linebacker Ravin Caldwell told the Post before the NFL's 2017 season. "They should get them just for beating Dallas." An underdog of sorts himself, running back Timmy Smith, who set a Super Bowl record, which still stands, with 204 rushing yards, believes the replacement players, who received half a share of the players' playoff money, earned a ring. "My take is they were a big part of it," Smith said. "They really helped us out. They put us in a position to win the Super Bowl. Yeah, they got the money. I think they should have gotten something else, a pendant around the neck, something." Joe Gibbs won't say it, but 1987 Redskins replacements deserve Super Bowl rings. Wide receiver Ricky Sanders, who caught 9 passes for a then Super Bowl record 193 yards and 2 touchdowns, was reluctant to comment on the topic but said, "I think they should have got something out of it." The sentiment is not unanimous, however. "I don't think they should get rings because they only played 3 games, defensive end Dexter Manley told the Post. "I think the opportunity to wear the burgundy and gold uniform, that's enough. They put us in a good position to go all the way to the Super Bowl, but I can't say that they should get a ring because they played 3 football games." Doug Williams, the Super Bowl XXII MVP and current Redskins Senior Vice President of Player Personnel, takes a more nuanced approach about whether they deserved rings and what should be done now. "I take my hat off to those guys for coming in and doing something they wanted to do," Williams said. "They all wanted to play in the National Football League. They got a chance and what they did was just remarkable, to be able to go undefeated, beat the Giants and beat Dallas with some of their players back. You have to take your hat off. As far as rings, I think that it'd been up to the people who were purchasing the rings. You're only allowed to buy so many rings at that time. And that's the money that you got. I think Mr. Cook, John Kent Cook, stated the same thing. But I'm just glad that I know that they got a half a share of the playoffs, which they deserved. Defensive tackle Darryl Grant pointed out that there will always be some controversy over who does and does not receive a ring. I'm sure there's some resentment with the ring issue, Grant told the Post in September. The ring issue was not our call. That's management and ownership's call about issuing rings. The first year that we won, there were some guys that contributed greatly in practice that didn't get rings. Whether or not they should get the rings is always going to be up to management. In hindsight, it was great what they did. They don't get invited to some of the events like the homecomings, and I think they feel shunned a little bit by the organization, but that's not our call. Offensive tackle Joe Jacoby, a finalist once again for the Pro Football Hall of Fame, has a more definitive view. That was beneficial. They won 3 games. They played a role into the playoffs as far as seeding, Jacoby said. I think they should have got a ring, Jacoby said. Scott Allen contributed to this report. Read more on the Redskins, a broken elevator, Doug Williams and a Redskins rout. Al Michaels recalls his first Super Bowl broadcast. Why, Eagles? Why? Redskins fans shouldn't root for Feely in the Super Bowl. Huge news. Cousins shoots Super Bowl commercial with fake Trump. Her ESPN tenure over. Lindsey Zarniak will contribute to WRC's Super Bowl coverage. ESPN ranks 1983 Redskins as the 7th best team to not win a Super Bowl. While Redskins fixate on QB future, here's their history of wide receiver